Imagine this bombshell exploding across the NFL landscape right now. The Cleveland Browns are crumbling under a disastrous season with just 3 wins, and the finger of blame is pointing straight at one man, while a rookie quarterback's future hangs in the balance after throwing 3 brutal interceptions and getting sacked 5 times in a humiliating 31-3 blowout loss to the Chicago Bears that left their offense completely shut out of the end zone the entire game. And now the debate is raging like wildfire. Should the Browns trade polarizing rookie Shedeur Sanders or straight up fire head coach Kevin Stefanski because Stephen A. Smith just dropped a nuclear take on First Take that's got everyone talking and questioning everything about this franchise's direction? Stefanski, a 2-time Coach of the Year, is suddenly on the hottest seat imaginable after yet another quarterback carousel disaster, while Shedeur Sanders, the highly scrutinized 5th-round pick who's seen as entitled and polarizing by some, is auditioning for his NFL life with every snap. And the irony is thick, because if the Browns aren't fully committed to him, they might be setting themselves up to draft another quarterback high in 2026 with those 2 first-round picks. But that could doom Stefanski's job security even further, because you don't bring in a new rookie signal caller when your head coach is already on thin ice. Just look at the Giants for proof of that mess. And Stephen A. is not holding back. He's putting the majority of the blame on Stefanski for this offensive nightmare that's ranked dead last in yards per play, 30th in yards per game, and 29th in offensive points per game. Asking the explosive question, does any quarterback actually work under this guy? Because they've cycled through like 13 quarterbacks since 2020, and even Baker Mayfield is thriving elsewhere without him. This controversy is urgent. It's dividing fans, media, and probably the locker room, and it's impossible to look away, because the Browns' defense is holding up their end with Jim Schwartz earning raves, but the offense is a complete disaster, and someone has to pay the price. Is it the young quarterback with growing pains, or the offensive-minded coach who's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, but has delivered nothing but failure lately? This debate is heating up fast, and it's about to define the Browns' offseason in the most dramatic way possible. What just happened in Cleveland is straight out of a nightmare for Browns fans on Sunday. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback who slid all the way to the 5th round, despite massive hype coming out of Colorado, threw 3 ugly interceptions, got sacked 5 times, and couldn't lead the offense to a single touchdown, as the Browns got absolutely embarrassed, 31-3, by the Chicago Bears, dropping them to a pathetic 3 wins on the season. And right after that, beat-down head coach Kevin Stefanski got grilled about his job security, but he brushed it off, saying his focus, and the team's focus, is solely on the upcoming game against the Buffalo Bills, watching the tape and preparing. That's all they care about. But that didn't stop the panel on First Take from diving deep into who's really got more at stake here: the young polarizing quarterback Shedeur Sanders, or the 2-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. And hey, if you're loving this kind of raw, unfiltered NFL breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like to keep the conversation going. We dive deep into these controversies every week. Now, let's break this down, because Stephen A. Smith and the crew went in hard on this situation, starting with who has more on the line. And one analyst said, it's definitely Shedeur Sanders, because while Stefanski has those 2 Coach of the Year awards, and even if he gets fired in Cleveland, he'd likely land another head coaching job quickly, with all the openings expected this cycle. But for Shedeur, it's different. He's polarizing. People have strong opinions about him as a player, and he might not get a longer runway or better opportunity elsewhere to prove he can be a starting quarterback in this league. And the irony is huge, because the Browns' commitment to Stefanski could actually depend on how committed they are to Shedeur, and whether they're willing to pass on drafting a quarterback high in the 2026 draft, where they hold 2 first-round picks. Because if you're bringing in a top rookie quarterback, you want him on the same timeline as a secure head coach, not one who's already on the hot seat. Just ask the New York Giants how that's going for them. It's a mess. And that point surprised some on the panel who initially thought Stefanski had more at stake, but then acknowledged the polarization around Shedeur. He's a young player dealing with growing pains in Stefanski's offense. And there have been signs of improvement, but the offense as a whole has been underwhelming, and the defense under Jim Schwartz has been carrying the team, yet offensively there's no spark, and part of the blame went to past decisions, like the craziness with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and then throwing in these rookies with minimal chance to succeed, calling it straight malpractice, because they gave those young guys no real shot with that kind of chaotic opportunity. And as former players know, your success rate is minimal at best in those setups. Then Stephen A. jumped in with fire, emphasizing how crucial it is for coaches to stick to their signature, what got them the job in the first place. I guess if a defensive guru's defense sucks, we'd have a problem. And he pointed to examples like D'Amico Ryans or Robert Saleh before things fell apart with the Jets. But for Stefanski, he came to Cleveland as the offensive coordinator from Minnesota, known for that offensive mind, yet look at the Browns' offense this year. Dead last in yards per play, 30th in yards per game, 29th in points per game. It's horrid, and it's not just Shedeur. They've had like 11 or 13 quarterbacks over the last 4 or 5 years, and none seem to thrive. Baker Mayfield is looking great. Elsewhere, other guys are decent without Stefanski. So, the explosive question is, what's the problem? Is it really the quarterbacks? Or is it the offensive scheme, the coordinator, the head coach? Because at some point, you have to look at Stefanski and say, ain't it about you? Why can't any quarterback work in your system? And then digging into Shedeur's stats, since he took over in Week 12, the offense is averaging just 16 points per game, second worst in the league behind only the Raiders. 56% completion rate ranking, 23rd among qualifiers, 5 interceptions tied for most 76 passer rating, 23rd, and a low success rate again around 23rd. So yes, Shedeur has to own some of that, he's not off the hook. But Stephen A. hammered home that if no quarterback succeeds under Stefanski, how can we fully blame Shedeur? Maybe Stefanski and his staff are the reason he's struggling like this. And even when countered with the injuries missing, receivers depleted, offensive line with only one original starter and losing more during games, Stephen A. pushed back saying, yeah, that's fair, but it doesn't stop us from judging Shedeur harshly. So why should it stop us from judging Stefanski, who's been there 5 or 6 years, with only one playoff appearance and one playoff win, that famous Baker-led victory over Pittsburgh, and nothing else, since no other playoff wins in all that time. So the tension is building here, because the defense gets praised. The young pieces are exciting. The draft class was strong, but offensively, it's malpractice-level failure cycling through quarterbacks without finding one that fits. And now with Shedeur showing flashes of improvement, but then clunkers, like this Bears game where everything fell apart. The question looms large: is this marriage between Stefanski and Shedeur salvageable, or does one have to go? And Stephen A. is leaning hard towards Stefanski bearing the brunt. Because as an offensive coach, this level of dysfunction on that side of the ball is inexcusable. No matter the injuries or youth, and revisiting that key claim, no quarterback thrives under him. It's provocative, but backed by the numbers, the carousel, the rankings. It's making everyone rethink the narrative around this Browns team. Because if Stefanski can't develop or scheme for quarterbacks successfully, why keep him? Especially when a new high draft pick. Quarterback would need stability and confidence in the coaching staff, not this hot seat drama. And for Shedeur, his polarization means teams might hesitate to give him another long look if things implode in Cleveland. So his stake is massive. This audition could define his career trajectory, and the locker room impact is real. Players see the chaos, the minimal chances given to young guys, the offensive struggles despite a solid defense. It breeds frustration and questions about leadership, and the media narrative is shifting fast, from Stefanski being a safe 2-time award winner to potentially the core problem. holding back the offense, and future expectations are sky high for the Browns with those draft picks, young talent on defense. But if they trade Shedeur or let Stefanski walk, it resets everything again in the most controversial way. And circling back to that explosive statement from Stephen, does any quarterback work for you, Kevin? At some point it's about you, your coordinator, what you're bringing to the table, because if no one clicks in your offense, maybe you're the issue, not the endless stream of quarterbacks. And that's the tension builder here, because acknowledging the injuries line issues, receiver drops, it's valid, but Stefanski has had years, resources, multiple chances, and only one playoff win to show for it, while quarterbacks leave and succeed elsewhere. It's bold to say, but the evidence is mounting, and for Shedeur, the growing pains are expected as a rookie. But in this system with this instability, his development could be stunted permanently, impacting his confidence, team, buy-in, and long-term projection as a starter. And the provocative tone is warranted, because this isn't just another loss, it's a blowout that exposed deep flaws. And with only a few games left, the decisions coming, this offseason will be seismic trade Shedeur to give him a fresh start elsewhere, where he might thrive without the polarization baggage, or fire Stefanski to bring in a new voice that can actually unlock quarterback potential, because sticking with the status quo risks wasting more years, more picks, more talent, and repeating the cycle of mediocrity. And Stephen A. reiterating that core claim, no quarterback succeeds under Stefanski. It hits hard because the stats back it, the history shows it, and it forces us to confront whether the head coach is the real anchor dragging this offense down, not just the latest quarterback thrown into the fire. And as the debate rages, the impact ripples through the locker room, where players might be wondering who's accountable. The media, where narratives are flipping fast. And the future, where expectations for a quick turnaround could shatter if they get this wrong again, and building that tension one more time. If the Browns aren't all in on Shedeur committing to him as the bridge or the guy, then drafting another quarterback high means aligning timelines. But with Stefanski potentially out anyway, it all points to massive change. And that's why this story is impossible to ignore. It's controversial, it's urgent, and it's about to explode even bigger as the season winds down with more performances that will either vindicate Shedeur or seal Stefanski's fate, or maybe both. Because in the NFL, when the offense is this bad for this long, heads roll. And right now, Stephen A.'s take is leading the charge, blaming the coach more than the rookie, and demanding answers that the Browns can't dodge forever.